Have you noticed that you've spent your entire life trying to control your breathing, when in reality, it was your breath that always controlled you? Think about it. Right at this moment, as you read these words, your lungs are expanding and contracting without you needing to remind them to do so. Life is breathing you, and you, obsessed with control, didn't even notice. We live in a collective illusion called control. Since childhood, they taught you that you need to do, conquer, fight, dominate. They told you that relaxing is for the weak, that stopping is going backwards, that surrendering is losing. So you grew up clenching your fists, tensing your shoulders, holding your breath whenever something important happens. You learned to be a rock in a river that would naturally flow around you. And now, exhausted, you're beginning to realize that perhaps you confuse strength with resistance. The cruelest paradox of human existence is this: the more you try to control, the less control you have. The more you force, the more life escapes through your fingers like sand. It's like trying to hold water with closed hands. The ancient sages already knew this. Lao Tzu said over 2,000 years ago that water is the softest element, yet it can dissolve the hardest stone, not through force, but through persistent surrender. Water doesn't fight against the obstacle, it simply finds the way around, below, through. It relaxes into its own nature and in doing so becomes unbeatable. But you're not water, right? You're human. You have goals, responsibilities, bills to pay. You can't simply relax and expect life to solve everything. Or can you? What if I told you that this belief is exactly the prison that keeps you trapped? That there's a fundamental difference between giving up and surrendering? That relaxing doesn't mean stopping, but flowing. Here's the truth no one told you. Your body always knew how to relax. It's your mind that forgot. Watch a child sleeping, muscles completely loose, breathing deep and natural, absolute trust in existence. No worry about tomorrow, no regret about yesterday, just the pure present, unadulterated by thought. This isn't ignorance, it's primordial wisdom. Then something happened. Society taught you to distrust relaxation. They showed you that the world is dangerous, that you need to be always alert, always prepared, always one step ahead, and you began to contract. First your muscles, then your emotions. Eventually, even your thoughts became rigid, stuck in patterns of worry and anticipation. You became a tired guardian of a fortress that no one is attacking. Modern neuroscience is discovering what mystics always knew. Your brain has two modes of operation: the doing mode and the being mode. The doing mode is active, analytical, always planning the next step. It's essential for surviving in the world. But when it completely dominates your experience, you become a human doing, not a human being. You forget there's another mode, equally important, where you simply allow life to happen through you. And here's the disturbing secret: the best things in your life happened when you weren't trying. That deep conversation that changed everything. You didn't plan every word. That moment of clarity where everything made sense, it came when you stopped searching. That creative solution to an impossible problem, it appeared precisely when you gave up forcing it. Life has a much better sense of timing than you do. But do you trust it? Can you? The question isn't whether you'll eventually relax. The question is, how much of your life will you waste before you realize you had no choice from the beginning? Because here's the brutal and liberating truth at the same time. You never had real control. Never. You don't control your next thought. It simply appears in your consciousness. You don't control your heart beating, your intestines digesting, your cells renewing. You don't control the weather, the economy, other people's actions. You don't control aging, change, the impermanent flow of everything. So what exactly are you trying to control? The answer is painful. You're trying to control the feeling of not having control. It's an impossible game. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The more you try to control your anxiety about not having control, the more anxious you become. The very act of trying to control is what creates suffering. Buddhists call this tanha, the craving that is the root of all pain. Think of someone you love deeply. Now imagine trying to completely control that person, every movement, every thought, every choice. Can you feel how this would destroy the very love you're trying to protect? True love requires space, trust, surrender. The same goes for your relationship with life. When you relax, when you finally open your clenched fists, something magical happens, not immediately because your nervous system is programmed to distrust. But slowly, gradually, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Things resolve themselves. Not the way you planned, usually in a much better way. The universe has an intelligence that your small, controlling ego could never replicate. And before you think this is superficial self-help talk, let me take you deeper, because there's something even more radical happening when you relax. When you finally stop resisting, when you relax into the essence of what you are, life literally begins to breathe you. Not metaphorically, literally. There's a breath behind your breath, an ancient and infinite intelligence that has been moving everything forever. The atoms in your body came from stars that died billions of years ago. The molecules of your next breath have already been in the lungs of Christ, of Buddha, of Shakespeare, of your great-grandmother. You're not an isolated island making a heroic effort to exist. You're a temporary wave in an infinite ocean. The wave doesn't create the ocean creates the wave. When the wave relaxes and stops trying to be something separate, it realizes it was always the entire ocean. This isn't abstract philosophy, it's direct experience available to anyone willing to stop for a moment and observe. Close your eyes now. Feel the breath. Are you breathing or are you being breathed? Where does the air end and you begin? Where is the dividing line between inside and outside? The more you observe, the more porous that boundary becomes. You are an open process, not a closed thing. Taoist traditions speak of Wu Wei, action without action. It's not passivity, it's movement aligned with the Tao, with the natural flow of things. It's like dancing with a perfectly synchronized partner, where you no longer know who's leading, because both have become a single movement. This is how martial arts masters move. This is how artists create their best works. This is how you live better, when you stop living and allow yourself to be lived. But here's the final paradox that few can integrate. To truly relax, you first need to accept everything that prevents you from relaxing. You need to relax even into the tension. You need to allow the resistance before you can transcend it. Forcing yourself to relax is just another kind of control. It's tension disguised as relaxation. True relaxation happens when you completely stop trying, when you finally admit, I don't know, I can't, I surrender. And in that space of honest not knowing, of total vulnerability, something larger can finally enter. Now comes the revelation that will change everything if you truly allow it to penetrate. You were never the breather. You were always the breathed. The mistake was thinking you are the subject making life happen, when in reality you are the space where life happens. You are the stage, not the actor. You are the mirror, not the reflection. You are the consciousness witnessing all of this, not the person trying to control the experience. All this time, you've been looking for peace in the wrong place, trying to create perfect conditions to finally relax. When the work is done, when the relationship is resolved, when the financial situation is stable. But true relaxation doesn't depend on conditions. It is the recognition that you already are the peace you're looking for. The storm can continue raging outside, but there's a still center inside you that was never disturbed. Life is breathing you in this moment. It always has breathed. It never stopped. You just got so busy trying to control the breathing that you forgot to feel the breather. So here's the final invitation. Not a challenge, because challenges imply effort, and we've already talked about that. An invitation to an experience. In the coming days, whenever you remember, simply observe. Observe life happening through you without your interference. Observe thoughts appearing and disappearing like clouds. Observe emotions flowing like waves. Observe the breath happening on its own. And in the midst of all this observation, ask the most liberating question you can ask. Who is observing? When you relax deeply into that question, when you stop trying to answer it intellectually and simply rest in it, something opens. A dimension of existence that was always here, but you were too busy to notice. And in that opening, you realize the deepest cosmic joke. You spent your entire life trying to learn how to live, when the secret was always to unlearn how to prevent life from living you. If this message resonated somewhere deep within you, don't let this understanding evaporate as soon as you return to the chaos of the world. Subscribe to this channel, leave your like, share with someone who needs to hear this. Not for me, but because you deserve constant reminders of this truth. Comment below. What was the moment in your life where you relaxed and everything resolved itself better than you could have planned? Let's create a community of people willing to stop fighting and start flowing. Because when you relax, life begins to breathe you. And that breath is everything you've always been searching for.